Let's start. Ooh, collab.
What should we call this thing?
Do-over.
That's true. All right, this time I'm going to put on the sound. So we should use what we learned about, what do we learn so far? Lists.
We learned
Lists and variables. And we're going to use that to build a graph.
Scatter.
Good job. All right. So here's what we can do. We're going to get right into graphing. So we're going to use this library called
Colab.
Colab is the notebook.
Oh.
Import.
Import.
What's next?
Plotly.
Good.
Dot graphic.
Almost.
I know, Plotly dot graph.
Graph objects.
Graph underscore objects.
Yeah.
As go.
Good job. All right.
Graphly dot graph.
No, Plotly dot graph
Oh, yeah.
objects. All right. So what we just did, what did we just do?
We went and decided that we were going to go through the encyclopedia to go through graph objects because we're going to build a graph.
Okay. So we loaded a library, Plotly.
Plotly.
And then the part of the library that we want is the one that produces these different graph objects.
Right.
Okay? Parts of a graph.
Parts of the graph.
And we are referencing that part of the library, graph objects,
As go.
good.
Standing for graph objects.
Perfect. So now I'm going to, let's just see that. So when I press Shift Return
Shift return.
on graph objects,
Yes.
I see that it's like, see this module?
Uh-huh.
That's the word for library. So
Oh.
the module, Plotly graph objects, and then it even tells you, this is like a place on your computer, or
Yes.
really on Google's computer,
Yeah.
where this is located.
Okay.
All right? Cool. So now we can use this thing.
Yes.
So the first thing we want to do is create like a blank canvas.
Yes.
How do we do that? Do you remember?
It's coming to me. We have to name the categories. Right?
All right, we're just going to create a blank canvas with go figure. Now let's see this thing. Take some time, and there it is, our blank canvas.
So a blank canvas is go figure.
Right.
Got it.
And I can even assign this blank canvas to a variable. Go for it.
Age
Age?
equals.
Age equals go figure?
Age equals something.
Why can't we have this thing, like, why don't we give the variable a name that corresponds to what we see here?
Okay, so how about go?
How about figure?
How
Or
about
fig?
How about fig?
All right? Because go is everything from graph objects.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
So this is specific, the figure. So when I assign a variable, I'm always using that pattern of the variable name equals followed by like the data. Right?
Right.
Here are the data or what I want to save.
Yes.
Here what I want to save is the figure. So when I assign a variable,
Right.
what will I see below? Nothing. When you assign a variable, you don't see anything below.
Right.
What you have to do is then retrieve that variable.
Ah.
Right? So variable name equals what I want to save. We see nothing.
Right.
But then when I type in what I stored this data as,
Mm-hmm.
then I see it.
Right.
Okay? So
Got
you're
it.
like storing this away in an envelope. You got to open up the envelope.
Okay. So fig is the envelope I'm opening up.
Exactly.
Got it.
Okay.
All right.
Now let's put something on the graph.
Yes.
So in Plotly, we call like the line, what you probably would call like a line graph, right? You call that like a trace.
Okay. Is the trace the x-axis and the y-axis?
It's the data that you see. This is the x-axis,
Right.
right? This is the y-axis.
Yes.
So the trace is like the data.
Inside the graph.
Yeah.
Got it.
You remember how to do this?
Let's do age equals
Okay.
parentheses.
Brackets. No? Are we trying to make a list?
Yes.
Okay, so square brackets.
Square brackets.
And then what do you want to put inside that?
I want to put some ages in there.
Okay, so why don't we call this ages, because this is plural.
Yes.
All right, so generally we like to name our collections, like lists, plural names.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so then give me some ages.
4, 8, and 10.
Any reason why you chose those ages?
My grandchildren.
Okay. And then why don't we give some names? We can maybe plot even names along with the ages.
That would be cool.
All right, so let's give some names.
Okay. So let's do Emmett, Ellie, and Miriam.
All right, so I'm assigning this variable, this list of names, to equal, right, names.
Yes.
And I'm assigning this list of ages to equal ages.
Yes.
Cool.
Now wait a minute. So with the numbers, did you have to go code, or with the text you had to go text?
This is all in code.
This is all.
Every time you see like a plus sign, or you see the number next to it.
Where do you see a plus sign?
Or sorry, I keep saying that. Play.
Oh. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Cool. So now we don't see them on here yet.
No,
So why not?
because you didn't do code.
Well, how do I get this? How do I place these guys in this figure?
Call it fig equals.
We did that. We need a scatter trace.
Oh, yes.
Go.scatter.
Yes.
Now this is what's going to be like our line graph. It's going to be a little easier when we see it, how this works. But essentially, I can have, say X or Emmett is 4, Ellie is 8, Miriam is 10. And the way to do this is, I'm just going to directly put this in for right now. We won't reference the variable, and then we will later on. So we'll say X is these values, and Y is these values. So let's see what happens.
Okay.
So this is going to be my scat. I'm going to store this
Yes.
by assigning it to a variable
Yeah.
called scatter trace. Because this is my trace that has these X values and these Y values.
All right. Hold on. Scatter means it's going to be putting it in the graph. Trace. I don't know what the heck. What's trace?
Trace is like the line, either the line.
Oh, the line in the graph. Okay.
Scatter is the kind of plot.
The numbers, or the X and Y's, right?
Yeah, the
Right.
values.
And the trace is the line connector. Equals go scatter. Go means graph objects.
Right.
Put the numbers in the graph objects for the X and Y.
Okay. Pretty good.
That makes sense.
So now we assign this to equal scatter trace. So that means whenever I type in scatter trace, I should be able to see what I just had above. All right?
Yes.
So that's that.
Good.
Now we don't see anything down here yet.
No.
Even if I, do this
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So how do I fix that? What do we want to do? We want to place this trace in the figure.
Yes.
So
go figure scatter _ trace.
let's try it.
Ta-da. I did that all by myself.
Well, soon we're going to see that. You'll be the one typing.
No, I can't type. Okay, so let's see. Emmett's 4. Go ahead, Ellie. Yep, that is cool. Very cool.
Right. And
I like that.
so here, what you can do is we can change the type of data. Let's see if we can use a bar chart.
Oh, boy. Oh, go.
See that? So we just changed this to a bar chart.
Okay, what else can you change it into?
Well, I can do the scatter trace again. So we just did go.bar, but I can go back to go.scatter, and instead of having the connecting line we
Yeah.
have right now,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
What I can do is I can say, all right, don't connect the lines, meaning mode equals markers. Okay? So let's see that.
It's a new word.
Okay, so you see it's not connected anymore.
Okay.
So this is good when you have a lot of data,
Yes.
right? Maybe a school of kids and you want to see, in general where they are.
Okay.
Right? Cool. So we did all that with just a few lines of code. Let's review what we did.
Yes.
We imported our library, right? The Python words here are import and as. And what we're importing is Plotly. Then this is called, like, Plotly is the name of our module. And then Graph Objects is our submodule.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to refer to Graph Objects as Go.
Yes.
So then that means that we can do things like go.figure, right? We can plot stuff. Like, that's the point of Plotly. Is it
Okay,
allows
tell
us
me
to
what
plot
Go
stuff.
Figure stands for.
Go Figure is this blank canvas,
Oh, figure stands for the canvas.
right? So this is
Okay.
called a
The
figure
shape.
in
Okay,
Plotly.
got it.
So what we did was we were like, okay, we're going to assign this figure to equal fig, and then show it below. All right. Now the next thing we did was now we want to like put something on this figure.
A scatter.
Right. So we said this go.scatter, but that's going to be filled with x values of Emmett, Ellie, and Miriam,
Yes.
and y values of their ages.
Yes.
Okay. Let's delete that for now. So I did that, directly in there, and then I said, okay, this is my scatter trace, and I want to put that scatter trace in my figure.
Yes. Oh, got it. So
Right.
once you okay.
So we have to do that through these arguments. This is called the argument to. This is technically like a function. So this is a method. So this is the argument to my method. Is scatter trace. It's like my way of configuring it.
Right.
I'm going to call this method with the parentheses and configure it by placing in the scatter trace.
Right.
All right. Same thing here. I'm going to call this method scatter with the parentheses, and I'm going to configure it with the data of what does x equal and what does y equal.
Right. Now here's my problem. That was a capital S, and this is a lowercase s. Does it
Right.
make a difference?
It does, because with Plotly, this is coming from Plotly, go.scatter.
Yes.
So it's capital.
Okay.
This is coming from what we wrote out, how we defined it.
Right.
Scatter trace.
Right.
So we did lowercase.
Okay.
Lowercase.
All right.
And there's, kind of fancy reason for why we're doing it this way, but just follow that
Yes.
rule, okay?
All right.
So we're doing lowercase. All right, that's good for now.